just gonna pick up some water, little 5-gallon bucket. There you go. Okay, here is my blue crab live well / holding tank. If you watched my video a couple of episodes ago, I went out and was able to catch a bunch of small blue crabs, nice bonefish, permit, tarpon sized crabs. I wanted to figure out a way to hold on to them for an extended period of time to cover a few different fishing trips. These little guys surprisingly cost about $3 per crab down here in the lower keys, so they are little gold nuggets, and for permit fishing they're almost mandatory. So I wanted a way to hold on to the ones I got and make them available whenever I needed them, and kind of eliminate the cash flow at the bait shop, as well as saving a stop on the way out to go fishing. I also thought it would be a good video for the visiting fishermen that comes down and are doing some maybe the usual week vacation down here, and loading up on the crabs and doing some flats fishing or wreck fishing, and then instead of watching their $3 investment die in the live well overnight, that they have a way of storing these crabs and still have them lively throughout the rest of the week during their visit. So anyways, the main things I'll go over are the setup, which is just a standard Coleman ice chest that I found in the mangroves. I also use it, I drill a hole and I use it for my live well for when I do live pilchards, bulk live pilchards. And I also went out and picked up a little $5 air bubbler pump. While looking for tubes, I found this one, which is my dad's old one, so I just forgot about it. So I'm running two, but not so necessary. Couple of things. I left the claws on these crabs, as you can see. The reason being is, since I was going to be holding them for an extended amount of time, I was going to plan on feeding them and keeping them healthy and alive, so I thought by leaving the claws they would be more apt to feed easier. The risk though is that they will attack each other, so I kind of wanted to balance that out. So far in the 1 week that I've had them, I've lost one the first night, which might have been stress and them kind of not knowing what's going on, but it got torn apart. And then I actually lost one last night. Came here and there was legs all over and claws all over, and they had ripped open its mouth, so got in some sort of fight. I feed them, so I don't think it was a feeding thing. They didn't like eat them, it looked like they just got in a fight. That also is why it's important, instead of doing a 5-gallon bucket, which doesn't have a lot of surface area, going to like a larger well like this, so they have more room to separate. As you can see, they're not really bunched up, they all kind of sticking in their little spot, and I think that'll eliminate them killing each other. I also have incorporated sponges. These are actually natural sponges that I found at the boat launch, so they're actually right out of the ocean. The multi-purposes for those are, one, I put the bubbler underneath them, so I think they hold the oxygen as well as provide some filtration. And also the crabs will climb up on top of them for breathing air, since the crabs don't necessarily breathe air like fish where they have to be underwater. As long as they can reach the surface, they can survive by just gulping air off the surface, or eating bubbles basically. There was two different strategies for making a well. One of them was to go like an aquarium, fill it full of water. The reason why I didn't go that route is because then you're trying to keep that amount of water, so you're going to have to add some sort of filtration to it. You got to have some circulation to it. You have to have some way of removing all the excrement and filtration and all that other stuff. So then you start getting into a little bit more complicated, and you're looking at like a $200 saltwater aquarium, and that's just kind of not what I was looking to do. I just want something real basic. So instead of going that, I went to the shallow, basically barely just cover them so that they could still reach up on the sides and gasp air. Even if my bubblers died, they would survive. I go full days without changing the water out in my bait bucket when I go fishing. I'll just cover their backs just that level, just maybe an inch of water, and they'll go the full day with no problems. So that's kind of what I wanted to do with this tank. Low water level allows them to get the air, and then by doing that I also can circulate the water easily. My system that I've come up with is that right before bed at nighttime I come out and I'll sprinkle a handful of torn up glass minnows, and they don't seem to feed during the day in the bright sun. So at nighttime when I put the food in there, they just devour it. And then when I wake up in the morning, I come out, I take everything out of the tank, dump the water, and just put a half of a 5-gallon bucket, 2.5 gallons in there, which gets it to basically this level. And it starts off fresh. That flushes out the excrement from them eating, and then they poo right away. So now my water, the tank water is clear, and it's been like that since this morning. The orange stuff on the bottom is actually just rust stains from storing my anchor in here, so that has nothing to do with them. There's very little excrement. In the mornings when I cycle out the water, there's a lot of lines of poo, so I think as soon as they eat something, then they poo out whatever they digest right away. So that way it stays clean throughout the day, and just those 6 or 7 hours overnight when they're feeding, and then the ammonium might build up a little more than usual. The other thing I've done is I put this little handkerchief over it, and it provides a lot of them kind of hide underneath there. They either hide underneath there, or they'll hide underneath these, you can see them hide underneath there, they hide underneath these the little foam pieces there, sponge pieces. Instead of the sponges, what would be a good alternative is just going to the dollar store, getting a car wash sponge, those kind of oval figure 8 sponges, and cutting it lengthwise in a diagonal, and just kind of put those in there, and they'll be kind of like ramps that they could kind of walk up on. I think those reasons of the being able to get to the surface is important, and also as well as giving them different hiding spaces to kind of keep away from each other, because I think they are a little bit territorial. But anyways, that is my tank. Seems to be working. Like I said, I've only lost one the first night and one last night, and I've taken a few on fishing trips already, and they're aggressive, and see, they're ready to fight. They're still peppy after a week, and like I said, I keep them on the hook and fish, leave them on there all day, and they're still peppy like that when I release them. So I'll probably hold these guys for a little while longer, a couple more trips, and then it's supposed to start getting windy coming up, and then I'll probably release them. But just a good way to hold over these expensive baits. So hope that helps.